Hi, and welcome to the Desert Lady Diaries podcast, a weekly conversation with women who found their home in the Mojave Desert. I'm Dawn Davis, and this is episode number 62. If you're a first-time listener, welcome. And if you're a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back. If you'd like more information about the podcast, previous guests, want to catch up on previous episodes, or just want to drop me a line, it's all at the website desertladydiaries.com. And I invite you to engage with me on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Desert Lady Diaries, and on Twitter at Desert Lady Diary. Today I'm talking to Denise Cullum. We talk about her 3 turns living in 29 Palms, being a service member spouse, running a couple restaurants, and running for city council. Before Denise and I get started, I want to talk with you about a special upcoming event curated and offered by Desert Ladies Tonalisa Ragas and Rohini Walker. They have a new venture called Magical Retreats, and they're inviting you to celebrate autumn magic with Harvest Samhain Saturday, October 27th from 4 to 9 p.m. at Garth's Boulder Garden in Pipes Canyon. It'll be an evening of feasting, ritual, sound bath, and meditation that will open up your pathways, helping you let go of outdated patterns, get clarity on abundance, and reconnect to nature and your center to navigate the rapids of change. And if you're a high desert dweller or a Magical Retreats newsletter subscriber, you get special pricing. Visit www.magicalretreats.com or send them an email at onemagicalretreat@gmail.com, and that's one as in O-N-E, magicalretreat@gmail.com. And check them out on Instagram at Magical Retreats. I'm here today with Denise Cullum, who's the co-owner of Bistro 29 with her honey of 28 years, Sylvester. They have 3 children, and brace yourself, 13 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandson. She is a Christian, loves nature, mostly from afar, encouraging songs, Christian, country, jazz, old music, and a good mystery. She enjoys talking to women about themselves, marriage, and children. She's a lifelong learner pursuing a doctorate in Christian counseling, and she's also running for the 29 Palms City Council. Yes. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Let's talk about your first experience with the desert.
Wow. My husband received orders to CNE schools back in 1979.
What is CNE school?
Communication and electronics.
Okay.
So he was going there to learn communication and electronics, but he was there for 9 months. And so we were in Jacksonville, North Carolina at the time. And so he came on ahead and sent for me. I packed my Nova.
Oh my.
And then I took out across the country. It was the most fabulous experience. Of course, you get to stop whenever you want to stop and look at everything on the way.
Right.
When I got here, even though I had a map because we didn't have Google back then.
Or Garmin or TomTom or any of those things.
Yes. So I had a map that told me to turn at 62. However, not far after I passed the state line, I saw this huge sign that said 29 Palms, this way. So I was like, must be a shortcut. Why should I go all the way to 62? Oh, to my surprise, though, I felt like I was climbing up. I've never really experienced mountains coming from the East Coast and from Buffalo, so this was a totally new experience. It's about 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and I was doing twists and turns, and then I came right flat in front of this mountain in the middle of the night, and so it was very scary.
Sure.
And then as I was going, I saw eyes that reflected off of my headlights, so it was a very scary experience, but I had to keep on because I didn't want to stop up there because nobody knew I was there. As I came down the hill, though, I saw 29 Palms with bright lights, kind of remind me a smaller version of Buffalo. And so I was very excited that I was coming to this wonderful, beautiful city. Checked into the hotel. Then I got up the next morning and looked out the window.
I was going to say you got there in the dark, didn't you?
Yes. And it was void of greenery, but it still had a sense of beauty to it. Yes, so I really liked it. And I think it was in bloom too.
Oh, great.
Yes, so it had flowers. So I really enjoyed it and embraced it. Learned about the desert from the various people who were there at that time. That was my first encounter.
Wow. And I think from talking to you previously before when we met at a chamber event or something, you had mentioned that you'd been back and forth numerous times.
Yes.
So with your husband in the service, is that how that happened? And when did you leave and where did you go and how many times did that happen?
We've been back 3 times, this time being our 3rd time.
Okay.
We're here in 79, finished in 79. We went to Camp Lejeune in 1980 and stayed there till 81. He went to Okinawa for a year. So we were back here. We left in 95, 94, 93. So we were back here in 93.
Okay.
93.
Okay.
Because we stayed 11 years.
Oh, wow.
I had to do the back.
Yeah, right.
So we were here in 93. And we stayed here for 11 years that time, which was really wonderful because the children had a chance to be in one school, all except for the youngest one. He only went to the middle school.
Okay.
Yes, I really appreciated the school system. They really learned a lot. And it was a nice, safe place for the children to grow up in. Yes, so.
It seems like a real community kind of place, even beyond the base. I mean, did you live on base any of the times that you were here?
Yes, we were on base, not the first time we lived out in town.
Okay.
Matter of fact, on Downell Hill is the stone houses there, and we stayed in a little studio apartment, which brings memories back to me every time I drive down there. And the only neighbors we really knew at that time was the people who lived in the front house.
Right.
But yeah, it was a real sense of community. The second time we stayed on base in Ocotillo Heights, where there still was a sense of community. Just really loved it. The children could just play all over, no worries. You know, just as long as they were back in by the time the lights came on, they were good to go. And everybody looked after everybody's children.
That's nice.
We did come out in town because the kids, when we did live out in town, the children went to Oasis Elementary School. So we came out, of course, and participated in events. I volunteered there for a while and involved in the games and things. So we really got a chance to meet the locals when we came out and the children participated in sporting events.
Right. Well, and they have a lot of community activities just in 29 Palms in general that they still have today, like the Pioneer Days and Weed Show, all that stuff.
Yes, and that's so funny you said that. I remember the first time I heard they were having a weed show, I thought it was pot. I learned at the chamber, I was like, we were at a meeting, and they were like, they're having a weed show. I'm like,
it seems unusual here. Right next to the marine
but the weeds are beautiful, though. You know, I really enjoyed that, too.
Yeah, that's something I haven't done yet, but I hear it's a real experience, and there's a lot of real friendly competition that happens there. Yeah. So coming from Buffalo, New York, on the East Coast, I was born and raised in Jersey, I understand the mountains, right? Yeah. So when you first got here and you saw this place, you say you embraced it. What were some things, do you remember any things that happened that you were kind of surprised by, or just were not like, we're not in Buffalo anymore?
Well, fortunately, I went to Camp Lejeune first.
Okay.
So that really was my first shock from being outside of the city, because at that time, Camp Lejeune was nothing like it is. It was like 29 Pounds was back in the 79, like a Dust Bowl. So that kind of helped me acclimate to here when I got here. So I wasn't really expecting anything, kind of open. And that's how I really go to all the duty stations, open. No matter what anybody said about it, I always come up with my own opinion about it and embrace where we're going to be. I got to be there for 4 years, so I might as well make the most out of it.
Right, absolutely. At which point did Fishalicious get started?
Well, we lived in Wildomar. When my husband retired in 2002, we were living in Wildomar. He was stationed at Camp Pendleton. And so we always decided that we wanted to do a restaurant because, you know, when you get together with people, they'll talk about what they miss about being home. And one of the common themes were fish. So we opened our first restaurant, fast food restaurant in Lake Elsinore. And so we did fish, chicken, hamburgers, because we learned that everybody didn't just like fish. So that's where our first experience were. Okay. And then when I got the job here, that's what actually brought us here this last time. Oh. I was here visiting with some friends, and I got a call from her daughter, and she was like, "Oh, hey, Miss Niece, are you here to put in for the fro position?" I was like, I didn't know about it, but yeah. So I put in for it and eventually got the job.
And what was the position?
A fro, Family Readiness Officer.
Oh, okay. And is that on the base?
Yeah, 7th Regiment. Yeah, so my husband still was working at Camp Pendleton. I stayed with friends for a while. Then we bought an RV and moved it on base and just commuted for the next couple of years on the weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long is that ride? 2 hours?
About two and a half hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you took the job because you thought you would eventually come back here to live?
Well, no, not at that time, no. I took the job as a way to give back to the military family. Okay. So we had served for 28 years. Right. And it's really changed since I first came in, when they said if we wanted you to have a wife, we would have issued you one.
Oh, my.
To them really opening up and embracing the service members' family and recognize that they're a very vital part of the service members' health.
Well, I think the service members kind of need that grounding sometimes, especially when they are being transferred here, there, and everywhere, and they may come to a place where they don't know anybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so as a family readiness officer, it was just wonderful to be able to sit down. Like I said, I really enjoyed talking more so one-on-one with people about what's going on in their lives. And so I really embraced that. Spent a lot of time with the ladies, especially after the guys were deployed to Afghanistan for that year. So, yeah, walked through a couple people that we lost during that time.
And is that what the job entailed? Was it like grief counseling or just somebody to be there for them when they were having a hard time?
We were the liaison, because usually when they have a conflict, the service members go and the families are left here behind with no one they can talk to, because of course the command is only going to be able to say so much because they're really involved in what's going on over here. Right. So they needed to have someone who can communicate and be the liaison for families.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So moms and dads that like on the other side of the world or on the other coast concerned about what's going on. Have you heard? Or if they haven't heard from them, you know, I could just say, hey, so-and-so's mom has been wanting, please nudge them and say, hey, just send them a email.
Right. Oh, I see. So it wasn't just the families that were left behind here specifically on the base, like their immediate spouse or something like that. It was also family members from anywhere.
Yes, yes.
Interesting. Yeah, that's
and then
great.
one of the joys, the most fabulous thing, is when they return and all the family is there to greet them.
There's a mural about that in 29 Palms, is when they were welcomed home, and big parade and all that kind of stuff. So that's great.
Events while they were gone, you know, bonding times with the family. So I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
And like I said, after being in a spouse for 28 years, it was really good to talk to them and give them an insight.
Well, it's somebody who's been there and been through something similar, so you have that experience, which is really helpful, and I'm sure they appreciated it as well. Yeah. So now you have this restaurant in Lake Elsinore. At what point did you all come back here? I guess for now. I'm going to say the last time, but who knows?
So we came this time and decided that this would be a great place to have a fish delicious. So we actually opened one in it's now the mobile station on 29 Palms Highway.
Oh, that's interesting. There have been a lot of restaurants in there.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
So we were in there, very successful, really had a good business there. Then we did delivery on base, so we had a huge clientele there, and then got the opportunity to go on base and have a business. So we opened up a fish delicious there. We had a mobile kitchen. Full kitchen.
I think that's what I saw online, the red, almost like a trailer.
Yes, so we had that, and we mainly were out in Camp Wilson.
Okay.
So that was really cool.
And when did that kind of fade off, and then the opportunity to open your brick and mortar restaurant came about?
Well, it faded off because they pulled the troops out of Afghanistan, so there was no more training out there. We were out there because of the training. I guess the terrain is similar to Afghanistan.
Right,
so.
and I hear they even have a whole village built back there, and
It's amazing.
Right.
And so once they pulled the troops from Afghanistan, there was no more training. And so there really was no need for us to be out there. So we closed. But we decided that we didn't want to open another place, this time back out in town, because one of the things that happened when we went on base, we lost our local customer base.
Oh, right, because they can't come out there.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. We didn't think about that when we went on base. So we decided the next time we open up something that we would do it in town, because we could always deliver on
Right,
base.
sure.
And they can come out if they needed to.
Right.
And so we got this opportunity to get the bistro, saw it, made an offer. They weren't ready to sell. And so we started meeting with them, talking to them, fabulous. And we just purchased it in January. It belongs to us.
Oh, good for you. So you'd been leasing up until this past January.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That's great.
We're very excited about it.
Yeah. And I've been there a couple of times. I enjoy the food.
Oh, good.
I see you've changed the menu.
Yes.
You're going to be offering some po' boys, which I'm very excited about.
Well, we're doing that. We're really embracing our southern roots. So we'll see. We're changing the name to B29.
I saw the rebranding, if you will.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes. So we can get away from what Bistro 29 actually stood for, because even now I just interviewed someone who, and I asked her, so what have you heard about the bistro? She said, I heard it was very expensive, and I was like, okay, that's a myth.
Right, right, because I see that there's a $3 breakfast on Saturday morning, and I was like, why am I not going there?
Yeah, but he was told that by someone else, so it's still very difficult to get the word out there. People still, to this day, even after being there almost 3 years, still used to what used to be there. So rebranding was necessary.
You know what? There's an interesting kind of thing about that, maybe, I think, too, because there are a number of civilians who work on the base, so they pass through 29 all the time, and they do typically pass your restaurant on their way to Adobe Road to the base. And I wonder if it's a mindset of what's available in Yucca Valley. I mean, if you think about it, the closest representation to your restaurant would probably be like Applebee's. Everything else is McDonald's, Arby's, Del Taco. So, of course, it's going to be a little more expensive because you're in a restaurant with, you have a full bar there and everything, and you have really nice tables and chairs and a very nice atmosphere. So it's going to be more expensive than that, fast food, highway food. And I don't wonder if that just is the thought process of, I don't know.
I don't either, but
because I think the prices are reasonable.
Yes, we're going to do our best. Of course, we don't get the discounts that the big boys get or big girls get.
Right.
But I do my best to try to keep it in a win-win for everybody here.
You're going to start offering breakfast, because I see the new menu started September 13th.
Yes.
So you're going to start offering breakfast, and that's because Farmers Market is there also, right? So people can go get some breakfast.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we are also added ribs.
Yum.
Smoked ribs to the menu, which took off. We introduced it last week and did really good.
Good.
So we have that, and we're going to do lunch. I'm going to open up for lunch, and I have sandwiches, soup, and salads.
Right.
Something you can grab right quick if you want. Or
when I saw you could order it. Right,
yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So we're excited about that. I'm going to have an all-you-can-eat salad bar for dinner.
Nice. That's wonderful.
Yeah, for a healthier choice.
Right, exactly. But you can still get macaroni and cheese and all that.
That's what we're all about.
Right.
This is where you come to feed your southern soul.
Right. Yeah, when I lived in Charlotte, there was a wonderful restaurant I loved to go to downtown. It was called Mert's Heart and Soul, and they would do breakfast with salmon cakes and eggs. And
so
I see you have grits.
We're getting ready to add salmon cakes.
Oh, yum.
Yes,
okay, good. Yeah. They had. I see you have grits on your breakfast menu.
There's no such thing as a southern breakfast without grits.
Grits.
Yes.
No liver mush, though. I didn't see that.
No. I never heard of that. I'll have to look
Oh,
into
really?
that.
It's
Yeah.
well, back east we call it scrapple.
Oh, I know what scrapple
Right,
is.
so I think it's
Okay.
very similar. I think liver
okay.
mush is very similar
Oh,
to
okay,
scrapple,
yes.
which I enjoy, cooked in lots of bacon grease.
Oh, okay.
Every once in a while when I
Yes,
go
yes.
back east, I like to have that.
Yes.
Being in business, you're involved in the community and the business community, so you are part of the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, yes.
And are you still on the board?
I am. I served last year as the secretary. This year I'm the vice president.
Okay. And how are things going with the Project Phoenix?
Well, the last time I went to a city council meeting, it seemed to be moving forward.
Good.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Because I've interviewed some ladies like Liz Meyer, Pat Remington, real old time
Yes.
29 Palms ladies, and they talk about how busy that stretch of town was during that time, and it would be great to see it revived.
It would, and that's one of my concerns, is making downtown a destination. I think that would be great. I've been to a couple cities like ours that are very successful in that.
Yeah,
So
that's great. Well, you can bring that experience to the chamber
Yes.
and put those ideas
Yes.
down and see how it goes.
Yes.
That's great. And then you're further getting involved by running for city council.
Yes, I'm the new voice.
Right.
A new voice.
So
for
talk
our
about
city.
that.
Well,
Because they just went through kind of a redistricting,
oh yes,
which
yes.
was
Which I think
basically
is
a
great.
lawsuit, right? That was
Yes.
going to be brought if they didn't do that,
Yes.
right?
Well, I thought it was a great thing to do the redistricting because it gives everybody in the city a voice, I believe. And I
Right.
think that's important when you have a city that you have somebody represent. So that was really great. I did do my nomination. I did have a few glitches and hitches.
Yeah, I saw it in the paper. You have a really awesome advocate in Jim Bagley writing
Yes,
about. So it was something to do with getting your signatures in to get on the ballot, but the date that they said you had to have them in was also a date that the city office were closed.
Yes. So what kind of led up to that is I went down with Cora. We went down to San Bernardino voter registrar and picked up our walking sheets. And so the walking list is a list of all the registered voters in the district.
Okay.
And so I opted to have mine emailed to me. So in case I want to print them out a couple of times, I wouldn't have to, I can just click and
Well, and
print.
it's an hour and a half drive to San
Yes,
Bernardino
yes.
too, so.
So I was told that they were going to be to me that Monday evening, but they weren't. I called on Tuesday. They said, "Oh, we're sending it to you." Still didn't get it.
Oh my
Called
goodness.
on Wednesday at 4:00. Finally got it. I needed to have them into the city clerk by Thursday.
Oh, wow.
So Wednesday night I was out
Running around,
getting
yeah.
all my names. So I got 24. And I came in on Thursday, turned them in. And on Monday morning, I got an email that says, "I'm sorry, your nomination form did not qualify. 6 of my names were disqualified."
Did they say why they were disqualified?
Yeah, I had 2 that weren't registered voters.
Oh, gosh.
1 that was underage. 1 they suspected that someone signed twice, which couldn't
Oh.
happen because I watched everyone sign it.
Right.
And what were the other 2? Oh, someone that already signed a Danny Mintz.
Oh, so, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just can't remember off the top of my head the other ones. But
Okay.
anyway, 6 were disqualified. But I didn't find that out till Monday morning. But they actually sent the information to Cindy on Friday, which was the official last day to get your nomination forms in.
Right.
So had I gotten the information, I could have I only needed 2 more names. Mm-hmm. So I could have gotten those 2 more names and got them in and been on the ballot instead of being a write-in.
Oh, my gosh. So where does that stand at this moment? We're in September.
Well, today is the official day to sign up to be a write-in candidate.
Okay.
So I have an appointment with her this evening.
Oh, okay.
So I can be a write-in candidate.
Okay, great. And then do you campaign? How does that all work? Okay.
I will campaign. I've already gotten poll cards for people to take with them because it's going to be important to spell my name correctly.
Right.
I have a website that's up already.
And what's the website?
Friends to Elect Denise Cullum.
Okay, and we'll put that in because this will air October 23rd, and we'll put it in there in case anybody in 29 is listening and needs that information.
Yeah, so I got that up, and it talks about my platform, about community, sustainable growth, and getting involved. So it really goes into what I think and the direction I would like to see our city head.
And what would you say was your impetus to run for city council? Because we are seeing more women get involved in local politics and politics on a national level. Like we just had Marge Doyle running for Congress. What are some things that you thought about that you decided, I want to do this, I want to run?
Well, a lot has to do with my experience as a business owner, making sure that the blocks to opening a business in 29 Palms are addressed to make it easier for people to be business owners, which I experienced. I really think we should have something that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, of which you complete in order to open the business.
Like a pretty basic application.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Well,
and instructions on everything that you have to do. My experience was back in maybe about 6 years ago, but I still hear other people have some issues too.
Right.
So I'm very pro-business. I would really like to see our downtown flourish. I would like to see downtown and the historical plaza somehow connected. So when people come to visit us, they can really immerse themselves in our full history.
Right, get a full experience.
Yes, I really think we have a great one. As I go around to the art museums and talk to different people and go to different events, I'm just really, really impressed about where we've been and where we are right now.
Yeah, and the women that volunteer at the Old Schoolhouse Museum in that research room just have all that information about from the very beginning of the town starting with the Bagleys. And I went out last February. It was President's Day, I think. It was windy as heck. But I went out because I wanted to see all the murals. I drive by here and there and I spot one, but I was like, I really want to take the time to see each and every one of these. And I photographed every single one. I got to the Bagleys, like the plaza, with the intention of seeing the mural. And then I drove in, and I was so taken aback by all of the empty spaces.
Yes.
That I just drove through, and I was like, oh, look at all this. This could be, somebody could use these spaces, blah, blah, blah. And I drove right out, got home, started putting the photos up on Facebook so people who haven't seen them could see them, and realized I never saw the mural. I got so distracted by the empty spaces. So I went back the next day just for that one. Yes. But I think you're right. I think even some kind of a trolley thing or something to take it up and down Adobe Road. And I think the military guys would even use that to get from the base to different places in 29 if they don't have a car or anything. Yes. Yeah, that would be great.
Remember the jail used to be over there? We need to have even a picture or something there so people can go and see.
Right, because there is so much history. There really is. And I'm very excited that they're expanding that Old Schoolhouse Museum.
Yes.
That's needed because of the programming that they're doing with all of that. So that's great.
Yeah, that, and I really think we need infrastructure before we can grow even more. So I think we just have a couple things that we just need to look at and then do something about it. Something measurable that people can look at and say, hey, we were here and now we're here. We can actually track the change.
Yeah, because without a plan, there really is no direction. You're just kind of surviving, you're treading water. Instead of planning and making a goal of something. Well, that's great.
I'd really like to see a plan, a design, or what this really looks like.
Yeah.
So we can move forward.
Vision.
Yes.
We don't have enough of that even in the U.S. or the world today. Being able to look down the road and understand what the actions or lack of action that we're taking at this moment, how that's going to affect the people behind us or us in 15, 20 years.
And even speaking of that, our legacy, where are our youth?
Right.
What are we doing to compel them to get involved so we will have a future. I mean, we're not all going to be around. We do need to have our youth involved.
Speaking of that, with your 3 children, are they still in the area or have they moved on?
No, they moved. Of course, 2 of them served in the military, so they were stationed in other places. And then the one who didn't serve in the military actually moved back to Buffalo.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you still have family there?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, literally, you still have family there.
Yeah. I have a grandchild here. She's in her 20s. So.
Okay. 13 grandchildren. That's a lot of Christmas.
That is. But it's wonderful. They all call me Honey Graham.
Oh.
And that is the most wonderful music to my ears to have them call me Honey Graham.
Well, that's great.
Yes.
So if someone were to say to you, you know what, Denise, I'm thinking of moving to the desert, what are some things that you would tell them?
Oh, come. Yes, because it's a place of peace and tranquility. It helps you get in touch with who you are. As far as our relationship, my husband and I, it helped really strengthen us. We didn't have the distractions, you know.
Right.
We grew stronger in our faith and in our relationship. And if you have children, it's a great place to bring children to get away from all the distractions that would be in this city. I'm not saying that there isn't anything, but it's very minimal. Yes.
More wholesome, maybe?
Yes.
That was something I think Liz Meyer mentioned too, even when she and her husband decided to come back here and raise their family. That was one of the things that was a deciding factor in them coming back.
And that's why I hear from other people who come. And it's a great place to save money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you work, you can go to school, great place to get your education. I had an opportunity to go to the college last month. I graduated from there in 95.
Congratulations.
95. It took me 10 years to get my associate's
Well, you were
degree.
busy cooking fish and raising kids. And
Yes. But I was so amazed at what they offer up there now. And I don't know why anyone doesn't have an education this day.
Funny, I had a friend in town last week. He's a math professor and lives in Studio City in LA. And we drove by the college. I said, well, if you like it out here, you could come and teach at the college. He goes, he teaches math.
Okay.
And he said, well, what do they even offer there? So we came back and I opened up my laptop and I read all of the things. And I said, oh, look, mathematics.
Yes.
And they even have vocational
Yes, they do.
training up there.
Which is so great because every child is not going to go to college.
No, exactly. But
so
learning
important.
a skill, you know, some kind of a
Yes,
technical skill or something like that. And we still need to have our cars fixed. We still need to have our plumbing fixed. We still need to have a roof put on our houses. And we need firemen. They have a fire program up there.
And their nursing program there, I believe, is second to none. So I think it's great. And they really care. It's not like the larger universities, you know. It's a community college. And the instructors, they care.
Well, and many of them probably live here.
And some of them graduated from there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate you coming and talking with us today.
Oh, thank you.
And I wish you the best of luck with your election.
Okay.
And getting that squared away and leading the city of 29 Palms into the future.
Yes, I look forward to that too.
Thank you so much. And I'll be by for a po' boy.
Yes. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to the Desert Lady Diaries podcast. I want you to know how much I appreciate you taking the time to tune in. If you heard something that inspired or enlightened you, I'd love to hear about it. Send an email to desertladydiaries@gmail.com or start a discussion on the Desert Lady Diaries Facebook page. And thanks so much, Adrian, Susan R., and Nancy for coming to Artist Tea at Joshua Tree National Park and signing up for the weekly email that brings the new episode to your inbox every week. Next week, T. Hamidi of Joshua Tree talks with me about understanding gender identity and how they came to be a purveyor of dates. And if you're enjoying this podcast, I would really appreciate you leaving a rating or a review on iTunes or whatever platform you're listening from. Thanks so much for listening.